Boys and girls, welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. We are brought to you by, powered by, BetUS. If you guys haven't gotten your sports book for the season, head over to BetUS. You could support the channel, help by supporting one of the sponsors of the channel. BetUS, they're going to match 125% of your first deposit up to $2,000 if you want to do that. And if you want to know exactly what to do, head over to BetUS. Let's say you want to do a little Aaron Rodgers action here. Boom. Let's see passing touchdowns. And you can see right here, Aaron Rodgers plus 160 to throw 30 touchdowns. If you think Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 30 touchdowns this year, which Ryan Fitzpatrick did with one less game in 2015, Joe Willie did it however long ago at this point. You think he could throw 30 touchdowns. You bet $100, you're going to get $160 back. That's what that plus 160 means. So if you use the link in my description, you'll get that 125% deposit match. We could all make a little bit of money. So thank you, BetUS, for supporting the channel. Boys and girls, we got some stuff to get into tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the depth chart that the Jets released on their website. We talked a little bit about that over on the Talkin' Jets channel. We're going to go into some calls and questions about the Jets and how they're going to handle the play calling responsibilities. You saw the thumbnail for this stream, Todd Downing calling plays for the New York Jets. It has not been officially labeled as such, but I haven't seen anyone talking about it, and it's something that I noticed during the green and white scrimmage. So green and white scrimmage was this past weekend, and I'm sure it's just something that the Jets are temporarily trying out to figure out what they want to do. But Todd Downing, I would say, called about 75% of the plays for the starters. And I'm not sure, I didn't pay super close attention to second string, third string, but he had a walkie-talkie in his hand and was very clearly talking to Aaron Rodgers. Now, Hackett did come in and start doing a little bit of that. I believe it was the third possession that wound up eventually stalling out on the goal line. We had a few different drops and whatnot, so I wouldn't necessarily pin that on Hackett at all. But then at the 2-minute drill, the final drive, there were 4 drives by the starters. And the final drive was Aaron Rodgers in the 2-minute drill, and it did not appear to me like Downing or Hackett was calling plays. So that was seemingly coming directly from Aaron Rodgers at that point. So just to recap what our 4 drives were with the starters from the scrimmage, you had Rodgers taking us all the way down to the 8-yard line, Tittman snapping the ball over his head. Rodgers got us back inside the 10, but then it was 4th down. We had to kick a field goal. The next drive, driving into the red zone, and then bam, third string running back. I don't know if it was Davis or whoever the other back was at the time. Not Braylon Allen, but one of the backs fumbled the ball in the red zone, turned the ball over. So not the play caller's fault, not Aaron Rodgers' fault, clearly running back 3's fault. Then, like I said, we stalled out on that third drive, and then Aaron Rodgers took us all the way down inside the red zone. With 3 seconds remaining, it would have been first down from inside the 10, but there were 3 seconds left, so they had to kick the field goal at that point. So in a game-winning situation, there's a situation where you just say, okay, we're going for it on, 1st and 7 or 1st and 8 or whatever the yard line was that they made it to on that final play. So something to keep in mind. Even though we didn't score a touchdown, it was not really because of the offense so much as it was like a few fluke bad plays by individual players. Tittman snapping the ball over Rodgers' head, running back fumbling the ball. Now, it is important to note we did not have Tyron Smith. We did not have Morgan Moses. And during the third series where they stalled out on the 1-yard line, we also did not have AVT. We had AVT for about 2 or 3 plays on that series. He had a false start and he got yanked from the practice. He did not go back in after that. So very much a backup offensive line across the board, short of Simpson and Tittman. So lots of things to get into. I see Josh over here. Thank you so much, Josh, for the super chat. He says, Ryan, about to have my second daughter. How do you do it with 2 kids? Any advice? Keep the channel great. Let's effing go, Jets. Josh, congratulations, first and foremost. Secondly, how old is your older daughter? Are they like close in age? Right now, Shay just turned 2 in June. Ren turns 1 on Friday. So it has been chaos. I will not sugarcoat this at all. 2 kids under 2 is very hard for the I would say the one thing that I noticed the biggest difference in going from one kid to two kids was the downtime that one of the parents could possibly have. So, for example, Becca wants to take Shay out or, go for a little car ride or go do something. Parent one can handle one kid, and it's really your whole focus is on that one kid. When you have kid two, both parents are kind of juggling both of them. And then when one parent is trying to take on both, forget it. You're not getting anything done. Like there were times where I needed to take care of business and I would hold Shay and I could still get some stuff done. But if I don't have Becca, I have to now hold Shay and I have Ren, and then one's crying, one's screaming, one's spitting, one's sneezing. There's all this crazy stuff going on. It's absolutely awesome. I will say that the interaction between the kids has been a lot of fun. It is a very cool thing to watch them start to like grow and learn. My daughter will be 2 in September. Okay, so Josh, so you're going through the same exact thing that I'm going to. So very much a challenge from a young child perspective. But as they start to learn and kind of figure stuff out, like it was really cute watching Shay go over to Ren. I mean, Shay was probably 1.5 years at this point, and Ren would have been like way too small to like understand anything. Like she's finally acknowledging like, oh, that's Dada, that's Mama. When I don't see them, I cry, I scream, things go sideways. But there was a point where Shay would go up to Ren and just say like, oh, that's Mama. And she's trying to teach Ren different things. So as they start to get a little bit older, she's teaching Ren how to play with her and how to have fun and where the things go in the little play kitchen that we have. We just set up a swing set. I don't know if I said this to you guys yet, but oh man, my neighbors were giving away a swing set, power washed it, put on new bolts on like the big boards and everything. And then I painted it all white, roof black, built a new roof. Used to have one of those canvas tops, now has like a nice pine wood top. Your boy feeling very dad savvy. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time. But bath time is a challenge. And like basically when I get home from work at like 5:30, from 5:30 until basically 7:30, 8 o'clock is like dinner, bath time, nap time, or bedtime, all that stuff. And then I literally pop on at like 8 o'clock, and that's when I can start doing content. So a little bit less on the content front from me, or maybe a little bit more inconvenient times that you guys get me as opposed to other things. But a lot of fun. So congratulations to you and your wife. I think it is a lot of fun. I see the main catch says, I have 4 kids. It's rugged, to say the least. That is rough. 4 kids is nuts. I can't even imagine having a third. JC Jets fans, McGovern is a zone blocking center. We are running more power. Oh, shouldn't we stick with Tippmann and forget McGovern? I think from an interior offensive line perspective, regardless of the scheme that you are running, I think the depth of someone that Rodgers trusted snapping him the ball last year would make a lot of sense. Now, maybe McGovern just does not fit that bill for this new power scheme, but I think we could do a hell of a lot worse. So I don't know. I'd have to take a look at that. Michael says, what is the best time to get Jets training camp for good seats? So I got to Jets training camp. I got to the parking lot at like 9:15, which is an hour before practice started for the green and white scrimmage. Green and white scrimmage is a different kind of beast, but like the entire stands were packed. We were lucky that we got 3 seats together, and it was to the point where like every section was full of fans for the green and white scrimmage. And I felt really bad because there was a lot of fans behind the bleachers, but the staff was just saying, hey, look, we don't have enough room. You can't come in. And there was nowhere for these people to watch. So I would say at the very least, get there an hour before practice is slated to start, and just make your way to the bleachers. Get yourself a nice shady seat. They do a good job. They do a really good job. If you're going midweek, I can't imagine it's going to be overly crazy. I think the Commanders practice on Thursday is probably the one that might be a little more critical to get there in a quick time. Let's see. What else are we talking about in here? And it says the GOAT. My dude. Thank you so much. Finns fan, get the hell out of here. Fish are absolute trash. Oh, enjoy your offensive line or lack thereof. That is all right. We got to beat you. Got to beat you to have it done. Zachary asking, are you done with the job yet? Am I done with the job yet? I just got a new job. I'm working... So I'm still working at the resort, still doing the golf stuff, but I'm no longer running a golf course. I'm now selling golf outings. So if you guys want to get a golf outing going, I'll be your guy. Do it for all the resorts. That's definitely, or if you know someone that wants to do a golf outing, reach out. Get you guys a good deal. Infrared. The question should be, who does Aaron Rodgers feel more comfortable calling plays? I think that should be the question. Could also be the question is, who provides the hotter cup of coffee to Aaron Rodgers, Todd Downing or Nathaniel Hackett? I think we could totally do that as well. Steven asking when our call-in's going to start. We can do that right now. Zachary just saying, when is the golf job season done? So old job, I used to be done once winter hit, and I would have a nice little hiatus for like 3 months. But now in my current job, I'm 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, so I don't no longer have like a 7-day-a-week operation that I'm dealing with like 50 people staffed underneath me. I am one of 3 in my role, and we work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday throughout the year. So I'm no longer going to have my winters off, but I might have more work from home flexibility, which will give me a little bit more time to like pump out a video during my lunch break or something along those lines. So unfortunately, no more time off in the winter, but it's a good thing. All right, let me throw the link to the call-in number on the screen, and we will start going through this. So, bam, link is in the chat if you would like to call in. I gotta see how I can pin this. Why can't I pin it? All right. I'm going to pin that message to the top. So if you guys want to call in, feel free to click on the live chat comment, and we'll talk a little bit through there. I'll answer your calls in the order that they come in. Let me just pop this out real quick. And then if you guys don't want to call in, we'll just talk in the chat. That's totally fine too. Good to be back on the Monday show, talking a little bit of hot topics with you guys. We've got our first caller in there, Mr. Wade Wilson over there. Wade Wilson, can you give me a thumbs up? Are you ready to go? I see it. Wait, was that finger or was that thumb? I can't tell. Thumbs up? One finger. Okay, I'm waiting. You get your alter ego going over there. Let's see. What's everyone going in the chat doing? Does anyone else video stop for a minute? I hope it's still going. I think it's going. It says excellent connection on this side, so fingers crossed it's still working. Let's see. Mike Z says Aaron has won 2. Oh, I see Mr. Wade in the background. He's good. Mike says Aaron has won 2 MVPs with Hackett. Will be a non-issue. I do tend to agree. I don't think we have to think too much about this. So I got Wade and then Steven back to back. I just want to get Hype's question up here. Thank you so much for the super chat, dude. Says McGovern on his last story on Instagram was still rehabbing. He had on Jets gear and said he's a Jet through and through. I think he will be back if he's better. Yeah, I did hear he was rehabbing. Was he doing deadlifts or clean press or something like that? I thought I saw a video of him doing that. I'll admit I did not notice that he was in Jets gear. But either way, very, very excited to have him. All right. Let's go over to guest 1. Mr. Wade Wilson, how you doing, dude?
Good, man.
So
sorry, I was on a phone call with a friend.
That's okay. You're forgiven. How do you feel about who's calling plays? I got to see Todd Downing calling some plays instead of Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think that's a good thing because we like to see what would happen if Nathaniel Hackett didn't do his job necessarily. Sure. I know Aaron Rodgers won 2 MVPs with him. He also won 2 MVPs with McCarthy as his head coach. So that's new. But I think it was interesting that Todd Downing's calling plays. Is he like our passing game coordinator?
Yes, I believe that's right. And then Keith Carter's O-line coach. I don't know what Hackett would be. Would he just be offensive coordinator and play caller would be Todd Downing? Like, I guess it's 2 different things. Like, Hackett could develop the offense for Aaron Rodgers, just not know how to call the plays effectively. I don't really know how they're going to work that. I also don't know. We were talking about on the Talking Jets show. Is it going to be Hackett in the booth or Hackett on the sidelines? Because Hackett does like being up top.
That's a good thing. I think Hackett should be up top. That's definite to me. be brutally honest, our main priority is keeping Aaron Rodgers healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aaron Rodgers to me is the most important piece of our offense. Because last year, even though we got Tyrod Taylor as our backup, and from what I heard, he looks good in training camp, which is important too. Olufushano looks good in training camp, which is a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Brandon Allen looks good in training camp, which is a huge plus.
He's been a stud. Now, did you see any of the depth chart that's come out as far as like
Yeah, I
what
was
players
on
are in front of
Jake's
others?
show earlier today with Nick Shine.
Nice.
And obviously, Hassan Reddick is still holding out. Hopefully, that doesn't last too long, or
Sure.
even longer. Excuse me. Just keep your fingers crossed and keep praying. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just I know Robert Sala is getting more involved with the offense, which to me he should have been since he first became our head coach. But that's a different story for another time. I'm just very happy with what our team looks like in training camp. I like the fact that it's been kind of like kind of been like a war. As the saying goes, iron sharpens iron. Sometimes our offense has their good days. Sometimes our defense has their good days. I like the fact it hasn't been completely one-sided all the time.
I mean, it certainly helps. It feels like since we got pads on, though, the offense has taken a little bit of a step back, which I think is slightly concerning. But we'll see. Hey, Charles. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Charles is out of here. We got Steven and then Joe the Jet coming up. Kelly pops in. Kelly says, what's your handicap in golf? The fact that I can't really play well. I work way too much to play enough golf. I'm somewhere around 100. If I'm having a good day, I'll shoot a 90. So you're talking 18 to what is that? 18 to 28 handicap probably, realistically. Not great. Zachary's asking, did you see Ayuk might get traded, gaining some steam? Yeah, I heard Pittsburgh is a hot spot landing for him, potentially even. I guess the Patriots was another one that I had heard, but the Steelers was the most recent one that I was looking at. All right, let's get Steven on over here. Steven! Doing, dude?
How are you, man?
Oh, hanging in there. How you feeling about Aaron Rodgers, how he's looked so far, some of the stories that you've heard? Obviously, you're a Green Bay Packers fan. You're probably pretty happy Jordan Love's in camp now. His nice fat contract. Maybe it's not all Aaron Rodgers' fault as to why contracts and stuff don't get done. It's just a Green Bay way of thinking.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that after his first year starting, he got the same treatment. Just give him a fat 6-year contract. I forgot what the money was, but it was 6 years. So they did the exact same thing. And so I'm not surprised. 10 deserves it. And, I'm hoping he grows from last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's definitely needed. We want to see the offense kind of grow. Obviously, we've got a little bit better situation for the Jets. The offensive line's a little bit better in front of him, even though we don't have all our starters currently on the offensive line. Was there any players that you, from maybe an outsider's perspective looking in, might see and say, oh, that player is interesting. I'd like to see them, highlight them more.
I really like your draft pick. I think it was number 10, your first round pick. I like how you guys, yeah. Not gonna lie, I slept on him really much when he was coming out of Penn State. But I watched some tape and he looks good. I genuinely think he could be like the best tackle from the class, but it's only his first year, so we'll have to see with that one. But I think if y'all protect Aaron for like 17 games, I think you're going to win the division this year, honestly. And people have been like, "Oh my goodness, the Bills have won for 4 straight years." But guess what? They lost Stephon Diggs, and Josh Allen will always carry them. But you guys have like probably the best defense in the division. And
we might have the best defense in the league. It's like it's going to be close. Well, Jets should be a top 5 defense. And then even from like a winning the division perspective, I feel like Miami took a big step back. I feel like Buffalo took a step back. I think Miami like took a bigger hit. They still have their biggest key players there, I think, but from like a depth, I shouldn't say a depth depth perspective, but from like an O-line, D-line perspective, I think Miami's going to be hurting a little bit more than they were last year.
Oh, yeah, of course. And Tua turning the ball over, can't seem to stay healthy. So
that's just, I was so happy they paid him. I was like, let's go, baby. Come on.
He didn't even deserve that. He doesn't deserve that.
Dude, I'm shocked they did it. I thought they were going to franchise tag him at the end of the year and they were going to go into next year, just figure it all out. And I was pleasantly surprised. Now, maybe I'll be eating my words come the end of the season if he has some stellar, amazing season.
Trust me, you will not be eating your words.
Fingers crossed. Dude, David, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. I got Joe to Jet on the line. Gonna give you just 1 second, then I'll come back over there. Let's see. I saw a question here. Where did I see it? Dano asking, wish it showed callers' names. I think I can make it do that. I'll have to look. I usually don't have it because I custom crop everything to fit in the particular layout that I have, which is why I introduce people. But I think I can do that. I just have to. I'm not going to do it while I'm on stream. I'll try to play with that after the fact. All right, let's get Joe to Jet in here. Joe, how you doing, dude?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Long time no talk. How you feeling about our Jets so far at the start of the season?
I feel confident. I feel excited. And confident about them. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for the season to start, man. Seriously.
Is there one area of concern now? Obviously, there's the offensive line snapping the ball, Tittman, and the conversations we've had about those struggles. There's Hassan Reddick holding out, and then even the topic for tonight, Todd Downing calling plays versus Nathaniel Hackett. Any thoughts on where we stand right
now? I honestly think that the biggest point of concern right now, I know it has nothing to do with on the field issues, is the whole Hassan Reddick situation. It's very odd. It's very odd how long that's sort of going, and it's starting to get to the point where it's starting to get very, very concerning to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit pessimistic here, but it's getting to the point where I'm starting to think like he might not even play like week 1. I know that sounds really on the downside, but it's just the conversations, they just seem like they're taking forever for some reason.
Yeah, the edge rusher situation is a little odd. Like I trust Hassan Reddick to be in like good shape when he does show up. I do think he's going to end up playing because he's in a contract year, and I feel like if you're going to be upset that you're getting fined all this money right now because you're not getting a new deal, what team is going to offer you a fat contract at the end of a season that you gave up on your team in? So, like, I feel like he's going to have to come in. I think you're going to see the Jets probably guarantee his $15 million for the year, and then maybe they provide some type of incentive. Hey, you get to 10 sacks, you get to 15 sacks, you get to whatever. Like, whatever the number is, you get an escalated price up to whatever agreed upon max value winds up being. And I think that's the best way to do it. But I think he's been fined like $500,000 already.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But one more thought before I go, because I know I got less than a minute left. I know it's way too early to jump on this topic. I'm thinking about the future of this franchise. Thinking about what's the future of this franchise post Aaron Rodgers. I'm sort of looking at this draft class in 2025 with this quarterback draft class. It's actually a really good one to develop a quarterback in my eyes, honestly, because you got a guy like Quinn Ewers out of Texas, I believe, and there's this other guy in Texas A&M called Connor Wegman. Very interesting draft prospect to look in there. So I want to give your take on what do you think of the 2025 quarterback draft class, and how would you feel if the Jets took a guy in the first round in next year's draft class?
So interesting. I'm of the opinion that I think Jordan Travis is who they hope to see enough from him over the course of this year, and then hopefully you have Aaron Rodgers for next year, and he's not, you're not doing anything crazy. If they like a quarterback in this year's draft class, on board with drafting it, no problem, no questions asked. I would like to see if there's a situation where Travis can develop over these next 2 years, and then maybe you have Travis in year 3 be the starter and you bring in some sort of vet to compete with him, if you find yourself in a situation where you really like one of the quarterbacks coming out. From what I heard last year, this draft class wasn't supposed to be, like, comparatively last year to this year, it's supposed to be a weaker class than last year's. I have not done all my research on the draft class for this year yet, so I can't really speak too intelligently on it. But from just a logistics standpoint, I see Travis as that, little block of clay you can start to build and hopefully get a little bit more out of. So I would like to see him get a shot, unless we see, next year he's just absolutely terrible, then you want to draft a quarterback. But I see what you're saying. You want to have him sit behind Rodgers for a season at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I looked at a couple of these quarterbacks, honestly, I felt like that this year's quarterback class was a little bit overrated. With guys like JJ McCarthy, I'm hearing that Drake May is having some struggles at Patriots camp. I didn't like Bo Nix coming out.
Same.
I might eat crow on that one though, but
Daniels and Penix were my 2 favorite quarterbacks. I had Daniels 1, Penix 2, and then I had Williams 3. I don't like Caleb Williams even. I'll be honest. I mean, he's talented, but I don't trust him.
To me, those 3 were the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft class, and I think they went one. I think they went. They were the first 3 picked because you had Williams going to Chicago and you had Daniels going to Washington. I think
May went
it was
third.
Penix first, right?
8. No, Penix went 8th to the Falcons, and then JJ
but he went before
10.
And then Bo Nix.
Bo Nix went. Was it 12, 11 or 12 to the Broncos? Whatever pick that was.
It was right after us at 11.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's a very interesting class. But you know what? We'll see what Jordan Travis can do in the future.
Dude, fingers crossed. Joe the Jet.
Fingers crossed.
I look forward to talking to you again in the future. You've been.
Thanks, Ryan.
From the cockpit. You're out of here. I must have too much stuff running on my computer because it's just like screaming right now as far as how fast or slow it's going. Boys and girls, we got 23 minutes left in the stream. If you'd like to call-in number is in the live chat. If not, we'll just talk a little bit through the chat, and that is totally fine as well. Let's see. NY Jet Superfan says, is the feed a little blurry? Is it me that's blurry, or like is the whole stream blurry, or is it just the callers? Because I have noticed the callers being a little bit blurry, and that might just be from me having too much stuff running right now. So I have to figure that out. Too Evil to Hope says, I think we could all agree Jets should trade for Kenny Pickett. I think Too Evil to Hope should go kick rocks, pound sand, take a long walk off a short pier. I do not want Kenny Pickett. Zachary says Miami O-line took a downgrade. Absolutely they did. Steven, always good chatting with you as well. Three Siblings says, honestly, it doesn't matter. Rodgers is changing every play at the line of scrimmage. I think just from like Aaron Rodgers' mannerisms during last year's games when Hackett was calling plays and you saw the head go back or like the shaking of the head when the play goes in, I think that's enough to tell you like, maybe Hackett shouldn't be calling plays, or at least there should be a few more discussions about it. For those of you guys just hopping in, make sure you hit that like button. Todd Downing calling plays. This was something that we noticed, or I guess I noticed because I didn't see it reported anywhere else, but Todd Downing was calling the plays at the green and white scrimmage. Hackett did call some plays as well. I want to say it was like a 75-25 split, give or take. Both guys had walkie-talkies in their hands, but you could clearly tell when the ones were on the field and when each person was specifically calling plays. Now, as far as second and third string who was calling plays, I'll be honest, I did not pay super close attention to that. I tried to like only focus on the ones, and then I was doing some other stuff during the twos and threes. I did, obviously watch the plays, but not as much emphasis on the who was calling it. So I do think Todd Downing will wind up getting a shot to call plays come the preseason. I think you might see a little bit of split responsibility. Maybe it's Hackett calls the first half, Downing calls second half, and then maybe they flip-flop for the next game, or maybe one guy gets the full game and the next guy gets the next game. I think they are going to be almost auditioning for that. And then as far as the 2-minute drills are concerned, the final drive of the green and white scrimmage that we saw from Aaron Rodgers appeared to be solely Aaron Rodgers working the 2-minute drill. So that's kind of where we're at right now. There's a live poll question in the chat. 83% of you prefer Todd Downing calling the plays to Nathaniel Hackett. So always interested to see what your guys' thoughts are on this. Zachary Berner says, for Hassan Reddick, every 2 sacks is $1 million. I think we can get the deal done. I would want to do that beyond. So every 2 sacks, what would that be? He's at $15 million right now. If he gets to 20 sacks, that'd be $25 million. Yeah, okay, I'm on board with that. That sounds like that's a good deal. I was going to say once we get to 10 sacks, then it escalates. But I guess you could say 10 sacks, and then for every sack after that, you get $1 million, and it would achieve the same thing. So I would be fine with either. I would prefer my option of $1 million per sack after 10 sacks because it kind of protects you a little bit more. But either way, I like where your head's at in this. Eric Imi, Ari Simi. I don't know how to say your name. Either way, we have 2 or 3 division losses coming versus the Dolphins and the Bills. So we beat the Bills each of the last 2 years with Zach Wilson as quarterback. So I'm not really super concerned about the Bills. I think at worst we split with them. I think Miami is the far trickier question because they are just so fast. Regardless of how good we are, they are going to be a challenge. I think our offensive line or their offensive line is going to get get the snot kicked out of them by our defensive line purely because of how much turnover there's been on their line and how good our defensive line is. The issue is they get the ball out so fast that they might neutralize our defensive line. So in my opinion, I think Miami is the harder matchup for the Jets than the Bills, even though the Bills are the 4-time division champion. I do think the Jets can do this, though. Harlan says, Reddick may have been fined a lot of money, but if he reported to camp, he wouldn't have been fined. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see a soft holdout. Like, oh, I'm reporting to camp, but my helmet doesn't fit, or my leg hurts, or whatever. So that way he's not actually getting fined and he's legitimately there. But I guess you start getting some really weird questions if you have to get in front of reporters or anything, and then you have to talk to your teammates, like, hey, why are you being a dick? That sort of thing. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it all shakes out. Hype. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says Hackett will call plays in the red zone like when in Green Bay. Oh, interesting. So was Hackett the red zone play caller even with LaFleur there, I guess? I'm fine with that. Maybe that's what I saw then. Maybe that was the plays that I saw in the red zone when Hackett was calling, because I don't know if I took note of Hackett at the beginning of the drive calling plays. Interesting. So maybe that's the double dipping duty. Like Todd Downing between the 20s and then Hackett once you're inside the 20. Because maybe Hackett's offensive play calling was not bad in the red zone. It was really our execution from a player standpoint. Maybe that's what we saw. Sertoon says, how likely is the Jets getting another wide receiver or Davante Adams? I think Davante Adams is going to happen at the trade deadline. I've been saying that for a while. I think we're going to give up a second-round pick in next year's draft that could become a first-round pick if we make the playoffs or something. It'll be something that's not like overly critical, not a hard thing to do, but I think there'll be some type of condition on it. I would say a second-round pick is what happens. Just a guy says Drake May is a bust. I think he's going to be a bust. I don't think he's very good. Just a guess. I didn't love him coming out of school. As far as the quarterbacks go last year, I would say May and Caleb were the two I was most concerned with. Caleb had the most talent of the bunch, but his record against winning teams was just so god awful. I don't know what to make of it. And I feel like there is something to be said for Keenan Allen, and I think it was Jalen Johnson speaking out against, hey, that Hollywood stuff's not going to work in the NFL prior to Williams being drafted. So I think there could be, depending on how everything shakes out, if there's any, drama in the locker room for them. So we'll see. I've got Dano on the line. Let's go over to Dano. Dano, how you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear.
All right. Let's see how this lag is going.
Yeah, I think this is a me issue. The program.
Okay, because I was just on my task. My task manager is like clean. I'm like, yep. Try it out. But would it help if I went audio only?
No, I think you're good. You look clear on this side. Okay. But actually, of everyone that I've had on, you look the clearest so far.
Hey, that might not be a good thing, man. anyways, I think you're about my age. If you were a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire fan back in the day, you may remember a time when a dude called his dad for the $1 million question, and he already knew it.
I just wanted to tell you I'm about to be a millionaire.
That's what this feels like, because I'm calling you like, dude, there's not much to worry about, man. I'm just calling to say what's up.
Dude, you feeling confident? I feel more confident this year than I did last year, even though I would say the excitement was at a higher level last year than it might be this year.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the grace period's over. I feel like this one is just this off season. The optimism is way more authentic. I mean, we were hyped last year, but compare it to the 2 decades before, you know. This off season, I get a little annoyed though, because I feel like a lot of us don't like, we're so used to being negative about 20 different things. And this year we've worked up our tolerance and our stamina to be lashing out at all these things. This year, we don't have those things to lash out at. So we've been pouring it into Tippmann and Reddick, when really we just need to look around and like realize these are small things, and they're not even things that we need to worry about threatening like week 1, yet alone week 12 and week 20. So like, I don't know. I guess I'm just calling to kind of hope that some people can temper their pessimism a little bit. And, you know, I don't know. I do feel like we bring in Connor McGovern. I do. I feel like it's been a handshake the whole way. It just makes sense that we didn't draft anyone. We didn't bring in another free agent. Now, if you bring him in and Kinlaw takes a step, dude, this is a complete team. So we're spoiled, man. We're spoiled.
It feels good. Now, before I let you go, what are your thoughts on the wide receiver room? I've gotten people's thoughts on Devontae Adams and everything. Do you think we add another body? Do you think Adams is going to be that guy eventually? Like, where's your head, you know, with the wide receiver room?
I think he is here definitely in the next 12 months. I think you can go two different ways. If you talk to Reddick and you want his second year, I think that pushes Devontae to next spring. Like it maybe even takes it off the table.
Sure.
But if you can get Reddick just some guarantees in this 1 year window, then I think you can possibly squeeze a half a year, you know, of Devontae onto our books this year too. But I don't think you can do both, if that makes sense. Do we need him?
That's why I say trade deadline, right? Like, you know what Williams' health is. You know if Garrett's going to be healthy by that point. Has Lazard bounced back? The salary's only $8.5 to $9 million at that point. The Raiders are going to know if they're going to be, you know, likely missing the playoffs or if they need draft picks. I think that's the time to do it. I don't think before the season.
What are the state of our ligaments?
That is entirely true. If things start popping everywhere, and yes. But I don't want to give up a premium pick now when, like, if the worst case scenario thing happens, which we're not going to talk about, if that happens, then at least, like, let's get halfway into the season and then reassess.
Dude, I feel like if you're a run first team, we have enough receivers that can get open enough for Aaron. But if we're a run first team and this O-line reaches most of its potential, I don't even worry if the worst. Like, I feel like we are good even minus a particular man. Like, we can be that good if we are run based and our O-line is dominant. That O-line, it's hellacious when it comes to run blocking scores and metrics. Like, I see it, dude. We can get there regardless. But I really want to go into next year's draft with 4 top 100 picks. You know, give me them
Don't
picks.
give them away. Yeah, hold on to them. It'd be great. Dano, thank you so much for the call. Boys and girls, if you've not subscribed to Dano, make sure you head over to his channel as well. Dano, thank you so much for the call. I've got Luke and then Jake on the line, but before I do, I just want to hop into a few super chats. We got Yo, it's Vin. Thank you so much for joining 27 months of the Jets Talk 24/7 membership tier. Thank you so much. Still need to get a new jersey. Suggestions on who? So it kind of depends on, is there a particular position you really like? Is there a player you really like? I feel pretty confident Sauce is going to wind up being a lifetime Jet. Obviously, Quinnen just got his deal last year. You could go with Fashanu if you want, or you could go with one of the legacy guys. I think my next jersey is honestly going to be this iteration of jersey, but the white jersey that they just released again, and it's going to be the Corbett version of it because I don't have a Wayne Corbett jersey that's actually in my size. I have one from when I was a kid back in the 90s. So that's probably my next jersey. I have said I've wanted to get an Elijah Vera Tucker and a Jermaine Johnson. Like, I really like Jermaine Johnson a lot. I think he's a stud. So you really can't go wrong with any number of jerseys, but it's nice to have some good options to pick from. Boba Jet, thanks so much for the super chat. Says, Ryan, good evening, brother. Can't wait to watch your recaps of all Jets wins this year. Start saving up for that expensive champagne this year. Dude, I can't wait. I thought it was happening last year. I wanted to have that winning season, and it just didn't come to fruition. Broken apart. I've got, see, that's the victory helmet. Where is it? Right there. Victory helmet. I got the new, I'll put it on for you guys. So your boy got the new visor. That's what's going to happen. We're going to win. We're going to be rocking out. Put me in, coach. I can't wait. I just want to win some games. I want to be excited about winning some games. Because it's been a little bit. Thank you, Boba Jet. All right, let's go over to Luke. Luke, how you doing, dude?
I'm great. How are you? I'm really excited right now. I've been a long-time watcher of the channel. So this is my first call. And I came up from training tonight, and I was like, gotta do it. I love it. Dude, I appreciate you calling in. So what's on your mind? I've been talking a little bit to Todd Downing, play calling, but I can honestly talk about anything that's on your mind. So I watched the green and white, like a replay that you posted the other day. Thank you for that, by the way. It was
of
great
course.
To watch. And I can't help everyone mentions like Brees and Garrett being like the most dynamic players in this offense. I cannot wait personally to see Mike Williams. I think it's an underrated aspect of this offense, but I feel like watching the green and white scrimmage, I feel like when Aaron Rodgers like recognizes the 1v1 coverage and like man coverage, he just lobs it up to his tallest receiver, which was Lazard in that scrimmage. But I think like once Mike Williams comes onto the scene, like I'm really excited to see what goes on there. Yeah.
He's going to be a fun player to watch. And it's everything that we kind of hoped Brownlee would be last year. But Mike Williams, you throw a ball up, it's like a 70-30 ball for him. And I think the Jets offense is mainly going to operate within like 7 yards of the line of scrimmage, lots of runs, lots of screen passes, lots of quick slants. But when you get that one-on-one matchup with either Garrett on the outside or Mike Williams on the outside, I do think Rodgers is going to take it, like you said.
For sure, yeah. And that's not to say that like Garrett won't be a superstar because he's been a stud with like terrible quarterback play.
Dude, 2 years of 1,000 yards, and he had 6 quarterbacks or something silly like that. Absolutely ridiculous.
Crazy, yeah. I'm a Wisconsin fan as well, so I'm pretty excited to see Braylon Allen get some action in the offense.
Dude, he was probably my favorite draft pick going into him and Jordan Travis were the two guys I was hoping we'd get, and to wind up with both of them was a pretty cool surprise.
Yeah. I don't know. This is more general, but Joe Douglas as a drafter, I'm always excited after the draft. Always.
Dude, I think he's honestly the best GM that I've seen for the New York Jets, and I really want this team to win games because I think Sal is a good coach, and I think Douglas is a good GM, and I'm going to be really irritated if we have to redo everything again and go through John Idzik and McCagnon and all these stupid people.
Yeah. For sure.
It just feels like we have adults in the room.
I became a fan during the Tannenbaum years. I was 5 years old. I remember the first distinct Jets game I remember was that Steelers conference championship game. That game where it felt like we were gonna win it at the end. I remember distinctly, and that was my first experience of Jet heartbreak. And then it's been 13 years of the same thing.
I was gonna say how old? Okay, so you're talking about the 2010 season. I wasn't sure because we had the 1 year with. I was in high school at the time, and it was the Jets Steelers, and we missed 2 or 3 field goals with Doug Bryan. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, dude, the championship game with the Steelers, it felt like we had everything clicking, and it just like the defense couldn't like hold up right there. And like, that was the year I thought we had it. I thought we were going to win.
Yeah.
Dude, quick record prediction. What do you think we're seeing this year?
This is dangerous territory. I think I'm gonna go 11-6. I'm gonna speak with my heart and not my brain. You know, being a longtime Jets fan, I think Rodgers will be electric. The defense is always great. Even when our teams weren't good, I feel like our run defense was like always top in the league, and like under the solid years, like they've always been electric. I'm gonna go 11-6. I'm feeling good.
11-6. You know, I was hoping that would be the pessimistic side. I'm like hoping 13 wins here, but I'll take 11 wins. Give me a playoff berth. I want to break that streak. Dude, Luke, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Luke with a good call in there. All right, let's go over to Jake. Let's see how Jake's doing. Jake, it's been a minute. How you doing, dude?
Ryan, how you doing, man? It's been, what, a few months?
Gotta be a couple months. I took 2 months off, so it's been, this is officially the first call-in show that I've done probably since the middle of June or so. So what are your thoughts on where we stand right now?
Well, Rodgers is on the field, so now we can say the season counts based on my reaction week 1 when it was the horror show. So things are going so far so good. No calf problems, because that's kind of what led to the Achilles tear last year. It's the offensive line. I mean, I was talking to Jake Asby the other day, and I didn't realize Joe Tippmann's snaps were a massive concern. I mean, dear Lord, dude, the guy was like throwing it over. Look, I understand him and Rodgers had no time together, but he wants to be the perennial center for this team going forward. He's got to get on top of this immediately, because week 1, you don't think Warner and them are going to come after him? Yeah, it's going to be a problem. But
dude, watching Tippmann snap last year during the regular season, he had some issues with control on snap, and then even last training camp, he was all over the place, and it's a big reason why McGovern wound up starting, and obviously why McGovern was brought in shortly after. I think it was shortly after the Rodgers trade to begin with. He wanted a veteran center. I would be stunned if Tippmann is still struggling in some capacity with this, that they don't bring in someone else to at least get that under control.
McGovern.
It's got to be McGovern.
They have no choice. They're going to have to.
Vetman, guy knows the offense already. You can kick Tippmann out to guard, which I think is totally fine. I mean, you give him either insurance for AVT or you have him start flat out in place of John Simpson.
Well, let's think about it also. I mean, John Simpson has a history of holding calls. There's a reason why the Ravens let him go. So we can't sit here and act like he's some like all-star guard.
Completely
AVT, look, 60% of our line is injury prone.
Yep.
You know, Moses is no spring chicken. Tyron Smith's going to get hurt. Olu, I mean, listen, everybody that wanted, Brock Bauer, dear Lord, we're done with that now. So we took Fashanu, and it's just, that's what it all boils down to. I mean, look, Mike Williams, the only reason he's on this team is because of the cost. $6 million, minimal guaranteed money. He really has no business really getting money until he can actually stay healthy for a year, which he can't. So that's where I haven't really seen Malachi Corley too much. I mean, he's a rookie. It's going to take probably even a year plus before we really see the true production from him, unless, Rodgers and him have a rapport by November, which would be phenomenal. Maybe I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it again and again and again and again and again. Devontae Adams is not off the table. He is not off the table. Now, do I think we're getting him before the season starts? No, I did. Boomer's, high as a kite to think that was even a remote possibility. It's really about the trade deadline, because I just do not see how Gardner Minshew and the Raiders are going to be on par really as much, because we don't even really know what Antonio Pierce really is as a long-term coach. Everyone, to me, it smells like Dennis Allen all over again. It just feels like a Dennis Allen, and you're seeing it right now in New Orleans. So hence why Derek Carr was never a good idea. So I just really want to see, look, the defense is going to be, the core of it. This could be a defensive kind of team. I want it to be a all-star throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns a game, but at the end of the day, Rodgers needs to be just like a 2-3 kind of touchdown guy. Why he came to the Jets. He didn't come here with the intention of having to be like on the Packers and Mike Penn's defense that could barely stop a nosebleed and throw these touchdowns. So I just want to make sure. Oh, and of course, Breece Hall has to be a superstar. I mean, I just don't. But he's shown you already with a lackluster offensive line and what is still a very questionable offensive line this year, he can get it done. So if you really just get the edges up for him and you get him out of the backfield, which Rodgers can do, he can dump it off quick. That's where Breece Hall, I mean, let's face it, he can be the best running back in the league. I'm not saying that's hyperbole. It's actually
I threw a few bucks on him getting Offensive Player of the Year this year. It's a long shot because it doesn't always happen for a non-quarterback, but if Christian McCaffrey could win it last year, Breece Hall is very capable of doing it this year. He had, 1,700 yards and like 8 touchdowns last year?
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey's injury prone. People forget all the years on the Panthers, he got hurt many, many times. That's how he ended up sort of in the Niners, before the fact of like the Lynch and the McCaffreys knew each other from the Broncos. I mean, that's part of it. Now, granted, I give him, look, we're going to watch the best 2 running backs in the league week 1. That's really going to be the kind of a decisive way to see like where these two are going to be going majority of the season. I just want to make
defenses too.
I'm sorry?
Against 2 good defenses too. Like it's going to be a nice heavyweight fight to start the season.
This is going to be Brock Purdy's toughest matchup of the year because he's actually going to go against the same defense he has to go against in practice every single day. Except this time now, Saleh's going to have some form of variation, and he has a lot of guys that are young, kind of like what he had with Eric Armstead, with Fred Warner. And listen, he's got Javon Kinlaw now. What will he be on this defense? We do not know. We're hoping he's not going to be like Solomon Thomas, who's kind of just cast it up, but I'll be fair. I think his mental health problems have been an issue since his sister passed away. I think that has really been impacting him for a while. But anyway, I just feel like, look, we have a whole preseason ahead. Saleh, thank you for not saying you're playing Rodgers. Thank you. Please just get him to week 1. How many times does everyone every year say preseason showed me this? It's going to show me this. It doesn't show anything. Just get the starting units to week 1. They've got scrimmages during the week, which is what they can use to replicate what game time play is going to be. 2 series on MetLife Stadium's crap-ass field is not going to determine anything for me. He knows Hack's system. We only have to really implement the offensive line gelling well together. Then you're talking about like guys like Braylon Allen, Corley, and Mike Williams. Actually, let me be honest. Where is Mike Williams with all this right now? Like, is he playing? Like, what
he's not playing yet. He was in a I don't know if he was a sweatshirt or t-shirt. He was on the sideline for the green and white scrimmage, so he was there. He's wearing number 18. He's around the facility. He's just not. They said he's on a similar timeline to Breece, which would put him. I don't think Breece played the preseason last year, but he started practicing. I think like what would be the 3rd week of August, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but that's getting under his legs. He's really not going to make it. He's going to be basically like a decoy player for half the season. For the first half of the season, he's going to be like that end zone, just stand there and pray to God you catch the ball, kind of like a center in basketball, just put in the hoop. But after
and
that,
I see him as that 50-50, 70-30 type ball. Like, hey, Rodgers recognizes, hey, they're going to put one guy on Mike Williams because they feel like they got to double Garrett or put an extra guy in the box for Breece. Like, okay, well, I'm just going to throw it up and see if this guy could jump and go get it. As long as he's healthy enough to jump and go get it, that's the only route he's got to learn. that's all I want to see.
Honestly, to me, the wild card of the offense, which I think could be the X factor, is someone like a Jeremy Ruckert. I really feel like it's time for people to give him his credit while everyone wanted Brock Bowers here. And while I think Tyler Conklin is a reliable tight end, I do. I think he can have a great rapport. He watched Rodgers saw him when he was on the Vikings. I mean, I don't see why he can't contribute, but I just think Ruckert, this is his time to really shine, and I think there's a chance for him to really get involved in this offense, to kind of like what they wanted with 𝐂𝐻𝐳 Uzama, who I thought was just more of just a blocking tight end. But he'll do his blocking, whatever. I just want to see that the tight ends are getting involved. I want them to spread the ball around as much as I want to see Garrett put up like his superstar numbers. But let's face it, people have now respected him as like a top 10 wide receiver or above. They're going to double cover him a lot this year. So this is where I think bringing in Mike Williams, and I think really Devontae Adams is a real possibility. I do. And I think at this point, the Raiders are going to be at the mercy of him saying, I'm not playing anymore. I'm going to complain. I'm not going to do this anymore. And they're not going to get the same value they got anymore because now depreciation gets kicked in. Now he's 2 years now on the team. He's getting older. So I think in the end, you flip the 3rd round pick that JD did a good job getting. You can use that if you want to use a second pick again in 2026, because the whole Hassan Reddick deal, we haven't even gotten to that whole situation yet, which is honestly, I don't even know what to say, an embarrassment. But it's on JD. It's on JD. I'm sorry to say this. It's kind of on JD to get us to this situation. He should have gotten this preemptively done before training camp, and he's probably not. This is my prediction. I've said this. If he wasn't going to get it done before, he's going to wait till the last day of training camp. He's going to say, "Forget it. I'm older. I want to collect my money when I have to, so I can get paid for the year." He's going to get a hamstring pull. He's going to be out the 4 or 5 first weeks of the season. He'll be back by Buffalo. He'll be on a snap count. Then he'll contribute. That's what I think is going to happen with him. I think he'll be more by, Halloween. He's going to start contributing against like CJ Stroud when we play them here. So anyway, I just feel like there's a lot going on, and I just want preseason for everyone to be healthy, play in camp. Look, we're lucky now. This is 2 weeks of camp, no serious injuries. I mean, that's kind of a big victory in my opinion. I think that's how preseason works: is be healthy, get to week 1, scrimmage, practice, get your hands-on experience, and then we get to week 1 and pray for the best, man. That's it.
I'll touch on your comments real quick. Hassan Reddick, I do agree. I think the Jets are going to hold out to the very end of training camp. And I think if it goes that long, I don't even know if Douglas is going to guarantee the full year for Reddick. It might just be like, hey, for every game you play, now that you've put injury on the table for you because you've missed all of camp, we're not going to guarantee it. And he's not going to sit out the season because he's not going to miss out on $15 million. And he's not going to give up a contract year where he's putting this on display for the entire league to go out there. So I think he is going to play, and I think you could wind up seeing a hamstring pull, and I think you could see his effectiveness not come in until a little bit later into the season. On Davante Adams, I completely agree. Trade deadline is when this is going to get done. I had projected a second-round pick, but if we could get him for a third-round pick, I'd be tickled pink. I think you see the Raiders be underdogs, I think in like 8 of their first 9 games or something along those lines. It was like it's a bad stretch.
I will tell you right now, dude, they're going to be home against the Panthers in September. They lose that game. I don't care what game Antonio Pierce is at. Davante Adams is literally going to take his helmet, throw it into the crowd, and say, "I'm done. I'm not going to waste my time here," because that's where it's going to be going.
It also gives the Jets the opportunity to see where the health of Mike Williams is, how Lazard is playing this year with Aaron Rodgers. Is Garrett Wilson fully healthy and like everything's a go with him? Because now maybe there's a situation where like if everyone's a go, maybe they don't make the trade for Davante Adams, or they offer less, thinking they can get him for a little bit less. And then, God forbid, someone goes down. I think it gives you that shot in the arm that you get to boost morale with the team, similarly to how I think teams try to do it. We haven't signed someone with the caliber that is Davante Adams, but I think you saw them try to do something similar when Brees went down. They brought in Brian Robinson or whatever, kind of like hey, we're not giving up on the season. And then to a lesser extent last year with bringing in...
You mean James Robinson?
James Robinson, that's what I meant. Yeah. They brought him in kind of like we're not giving up. And then it's more of a symbolic message where Davante Adams is more of like a let's go get this fucking ring kind of situation. But Jake, thank you so much for your call. You were big. Good seeing you too. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun talking to you tonight. If you haven't done so already and you want to head over to BetUS, see, I logged out of the page. There it goes. Stupid, Ryan. If you want to head over to BetUS, get yourself in on the Aaron Rodgers 30 touchdowns plus 160. If you use my link in the description down below, you'll get a 125% deposit match up to $2,000. We're going to be trying to win a little bit of money this year, so we'll go through different bets each week as things go leading up to it. But 30 touchdowns on the season plus 160, throw $100 on it, get a cool $60. You could buy yourself like Madden, basically. Although Madden will be at the end of the season then at that point because you wouldn't have won until after he got 30 touchdowns. You know what I'm trying to say. Support the channel, sponsor BetUS. Boys and girls, I will talk to you tomorrow. Talking Jets over on the Talking Jets channel, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. If you haven't done so already, get your tickets for the Jets Broncos Week 4 group buy, talkingjets.com. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.
Remember him!